Hold on. Recording is on. Okay, Tony, you're on with your question.
Okay, great. So one of the things that I was wondering about is Nobby and I had we have a really good rapport, and we had a great conversation outside of the Turn Your Show into Cash classroom. And we have talked about the possibility of him and I interviewing each other on our shows. And one of the things that we discovered in the dialogue is that his target market is a little different to mine. So I'm just looking for advice from you, Anne, on how we would manage that concern and, strategize around it so we can help each other out and have great interviews.
Okay, so one of the things that will happen when you are interviewing people, their target market may not be a perfect match for yours. Ideally, it would be wonderful if it was the same target market and, the whole co-op collaborative comes together at that point. But there's a lot of great content out there that may or may not be the same target market. But the beauty of it is that you can actually find a commonality in pretty much everybody that goes across when it comes to, in this case, finances. So Nabi's main target are women, who are having challenges with their finances. Well, guess what? Men also have pretty much the same thing. We've all experienced the ups and downs of the finances, the real estate market turning up and down, going in debt, coming out of debt, having to rebudget, having to, all of us, regardless of where we are, whether we're dealing with little money or a lot of money. I mean, I know people who have lost millions of dollars with the real estate, and I also know people who have lost a single home, at the same time, but they're all experiencing the same process. Internal experience is the same. They lost something precious, and how they're going to get back on track, how they're going to get the finances going to get back up there. So when you're interviewing him for your clients on as far as what's going on, remember, some of your clients, they're struggling too. That's part of the reason why they're coming to you. They're having internal challenges, and it could be for a variety of reasons. And one of the biggest ones that will send us into a tailspin is money. So that's pretty much with everybody. So what I would suggest you do when you're interviewing him for your show, you actually talk about, what happens when we have to reset our finances and when we have challenges with this. And he can talk about it. He can talk about his process, because the amount of money doesn't make a difference as much as the process. So you focus on that ahead of time, and it would help, Nabi, if you were to actually find examples of men in business who have gone through it, or you can actually even say, look, we all go through it. As a matter of fact, I myself, things happen in my business. I had a partner who just didn't do the right thing, and I had to go in there and restructure my own business. So you can talk about it. You can talk about the structure. The process is the same. And it will fall into place. And also, it's you as the host, Tony, it's up to you to guide it. Say, okay, that's wonderful. So, for example, if somebody is doing this, have your questions and stories and examples that you want to discuss, then he will come back and say, well, in that situation, here's how you look at it. See, the thing about it is, like, if you had actually started looking at what he can bring to the table, whether it's his system that you want to know more about, or other people that he's worked with, as opposed to the women only. He doesn't have to talk about with women only. And also, the other part of it too, there are a lot of executive women who have gone through divorce and the money has disappeared. So it's not just a homemaker at home who's sitting there saying, oh my God, I don't have money for groceries. It's people who are like, oh my God, it was like, it was a 2-income family. We were making $2 million. Now all of a sudden, I have to pay my husband all the money. How am I going to budget this? What am I going to do here? So
I have actually had clients that have had that dilemma as well. So, yeah.
So there's so many ways to spin it. So this is where it's very important when you are thinking about interviewing somebody, you have a conversation with them and say, well, a lot of my people are experiencing this. What advice would you give them? These are some of the people I'm working with. Do you have some advice for them?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, the person, if you're thinking about interviewing, if these are the questions you want to ask,
Right.
and if they don't come up with examples, they're no, then don't have them on your show.
Mm.
Right. And so then it sounds to me like some of this would be agreements that we would make beforehand too, where I would kind of set him up with the expectation that my target market is more, thought leaders, executives, and high-level entrepreneurs, and they're not necessarily female.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I'm kind of 50-50 on the genders in terms of my client base at the moment. And so I would just kind of set that expectation and say, so I would like you to bring examples to the table that would be applicable to them.
Yeah, now you should do that. You should. I'm saying
we just had that conversation.
now here's the other thing too. If he specializes in working with women, why not have a special guest who specializes in working women, because they think and feel about money differently than men do. So why not tap into that? So when you introduce and say, ladies, that we know that, men may be bringing home the money. Nowadays, it's a lot of women are the ones who are bringing home the money, but women relate to money differently than men do. So my special guest knows both sides. He's a guy who loves to work with women, so he understands both sides. Let's pick his brain.
That makes sense, because obviously it needs to be worthwhile for Nobby as well to spend the time doing the interview and have him feel that he's getting to be in front of the people that he wants to be in front of.
Well, it has to be a win-win for both.
Right.
Okay, it has to be, and you have to make sure you create the scene so it makes sense for him to give you. Now, he's going to be giving you his time, his knowledge. It's a huge investment in you. I mean, because he knows you like you, he's probably going to do you a favor, even if it's not. But, I mean, think about it. Anytime you're asking somebody to come and share their knowledge, give you an hour or two, whatever it is, they have to prep for it. They have to show up. They have to share the knowledge. That's a huge ask. So you want to make sure that it's good for both of you. And if it's a disconnect for your audience, that's not going to help you either. So you find a way as a show host to make the connection. So you're leveraging it for both of you. And that's one of the things, once we start really going into the show host, once you start working with people, you're going to see it's a huge component of it. It's like, how do you make the win-win all around? Because what's going to happen is that if he's feeling good and the interview goes really well, and you have these executive women calling him, and they're calling you, so well, that was really helpful, then he's going to go tell other people about it. He's going to use that interview to promote your show because it's making him look good. So it's like it's a bigger picture. Now, you're
I don't know. I think it's a bit of a project to make Nobby look good.
I need all the help I can get.
Well, you're doing just fine on your own, Nobby.
You're doing great. It's just like, I think the common ground for the most part is that we're both wacky Australians. So
Absolutely.
I just realized that, half of my people are Australian. On this
I noticed that. That's so funny. And I'm like the expat, right? I'm actually here in the US, but the others are all back in the land of Oz.
Yeah, well, I'm heading out that way anyway, so I feel like I have to be there. So I'm going. Yeah. I'm being called to action.
You've definitely got it resonating in your field. I would say that for sure. The Australian component.
I think most of the marketers find that a large component of their audiences are Australian. So, like people everybody from America just says, we just get such a large influx of Australians coming in.
Yeah. Well, we're go-getters. Australians are.
Yeah.
I think we're early adopters. We're not concerned about the risk about anything. We evaluate things fairly quickly and jump in, whereas a lot of other people sort of sit on the fence and wait to see what someone else does. For us, it's like boots in and away we go.
Yeah.
You know what? I think you're right, and I really like that because that I can resonate with. I get frustrated when people take forever to make a decision. I'm like, is it a yes or a no? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Just do
Please
it.
decide, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'd go to the bars in America, and it was like, I remember one night I was there
I'm worried about where this is going.
well, it was funny. I can't remember his name, but it's a really nice guy from your program when I was there, and I can't think of his name now. But he was really, really, really nice.
What did he look
and
like?
we went up to the bar. Dark hair, Anchor Bell.
Oh, Anchor. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we went to a bar in Hollywood, and he was really shy. And I said, "What are you got to be shy about?" So, being the brash Australian and showing off, I said, "Here, watch this." I took my phone and I stood it across the bar to this girl. I said, "Put your number in there," and she did.
She did. She did.
He said, "I don't believe you." So. And I did the same thing in the Cheesecake Factory. I walked up to a girl and I said, "See that guy sitting over there? He bet that, and it's like, "Oh, really?" So she came back to the table with me.
Now, I have to say, I don't think it's because you're Australian. I think it's just because it's you.
Yes.
So I've spoken with quite a few different Australians, and not everybody has your attitude. Okay, so let's just give credit where credit is due. Okay.
It's the accent. The accent works. Gets me 10
yes,
points.
it does. Actually,
Yeah.
it does. It does work.
And besides, you're a hottie.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, look, guys. It's time to go.
It is. I've got work to do.
Oh, wait. Did I? Oh.